you guys tonight. I'm so excited for this topic. It's going to be so amazing. Alexis, how are you doing today?
Hello and hello to all. I'm doing pretty good today. Honestly, the last week I've been in a very kind of stressed out, anxious state. And even though I'm still kind of feeling that today, it just is like I don't know, it feels lighter. And I feel like this might be because tomorrow is Beltane. Uh,
Yes.
Now, I'm not
Yes.
going to go too much into Beltane, but if you guys don't know much about it, it's an ancient Celtic pagan Sabbath. And it basically is welcoming in the summer, and it represents fertility. And so I'm feeling that energy of the Venetian energy. And just, I don't know, I have my candle lit. Everything just feels really
Yeah.
good. So
Oh,
that's how I'm
like
doing.
prime
Even
time
it,
tourist season.
yes, exactly, exactly. And I even love bringing that back in because it brings in the more earthy, grounded aspects of it. And I'm always in the air, so it just kind of ties me down a little bit. And I'm feeling pretty good today. How are you?
I'm feeling really good as well. I mean, it's been really busy and I don't know, it's weird. It's hard to really concept or no, is it conceptualize? No, to
Yeah.
comprehend
Oh
basically.
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know if that was the right word, but either way, it's hard to perceive time right now because I'm always amazed with how much I get done. And then there's still never enough time. But I'm just learning to go with the flow and I'm learning to take it easy. Somehow I've been able to, for the past 3 weeks, there was only one day, and I think it was yesterday or the day before, where I haven't been able to get two meditations in a week. So for the past 3 weeks, it'll be 4 weeks, I think, this weekend though, where I have meditated twice a day for 20 minutes. And I'm so proud of myself. I'm seeing the benefits of that, especially in my dreams. I didn't mention this to you, Alexis, but I mentioned to another friend that I had an anxious dream experience where I would usually wake up with an anxiety attack. And I had the dream and I kind of felt like, you know how when you wake up and you're just and I just usually I put my hand on my heart and I start taking deep breaths. And I was doing that, but I didn't feel the response. I didn't feel any waves of the physical anxiety coming up. And I was and the dream was really intense. And I was just wow, I feel like this is a benefit of the meditations I've been doing, along with just I've been seeing it in my life in general. And so, I mean, with all of that said, with the busyness, with the craziness going on in the world, I have been able to, really find some sort of ground, which is interesting because meditation is also for me, especially, I pretty much transcend my physical body. I'm just hovering and vibrating and just I don't really feel my physical body. I just feel this very warm, vibrating experience. So it's grounding, but also disembodying and not the bad way. So,
Wow.
anyways, all that to say, I had the best meditation a couple hours ago. So I'm still in that flow and that vibe. So we're here, we're doing it. Yeah, so Mary's here. Mary says, "Hello, angels."
Hi,
Hi,
Mary.
Mary. Thanks for being here live. If
Thank
there's
you.
anyone else here, feel free to say hello in the chat. So today is going to be tonight, this chat is going to be a really awesome chat. We're going to talk about deja vu and dreams. I feel like we've wanted to talk about this for some time, and maybe we never had it in our notes. Maybe we forgot it. I don't know, but something happened recently and we're we got to do that as an episode and we got to move that up.
I
So I'm
actually
really
think one
excited
of
to
our
talk.
listeners might have actually, put it out
Yeah.
there in the chat when we were live. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I'm feeling maybe Jace talked about it or something. But
Yeah.
we've talked about doing that before. That popped up, and we both were just game ready for it.
Yeah.
It's so fun.
And I think Jace, I'm going to shout out Jace, as he's someone that's been on a few of our chats here. And also he's, always showing up in the live chat. He's not here tonight. He's busy, but nonetheless, I think I say for myself that I didn't even really think about connecting deja vu and dreams until he had mentioned it. Like we were talking about deja vu, and I had, of course, came across like the connection between precognitive experiences, and not necessarily, through dreams, but just like these visions that we might have, or premonitions in general, and synchronicities also integrated with deja vu. And so I didn't think about it until he mentioned it like a while ago in a conversation. And I was just like, that makes sense. Like it just rang the bell within me. And I was like, yep, I feel that resonates. And so, yeah, I'm really excited to dig into it today with you in this chat.
Me too. And honestly, like when we chatted about deja vu, I had already been thinking about how my deja vus, like for me, I am tracking or have thought about my past deja vus and more recent ones, and they really track with being dreams that I've had. And like
Yeah.
I can trace back to the dream. Like now it's not a mystery to me. It's I know it's a dream. And like looking back at how it was when I was a kid, and like there is an interesting combination of that deja vu with the dreams that I personally relate to. So I was really excited to dive into this.
Yeah. So, those of you watching either live with us now or later watching the replay, feel free to share in the chat or the comments your thoughts about deja vu. We would love to hear of a recent experience you had with deja vu. Do you believe or feel, or maybe open or sensing that there is a connection between deja vu and dreams? And yeah, we're just curious to see, what people are thinking and of their experience as well. So before we get into all the juicy details, we want to share some announcements. So Alexis, do you want to share the first couple?
Sure. So first, of course, I'm going to mention Dramigos. Urania and I are now a part of a developing app called Dramigos. That's Dramigos. You can download this app on the Apple Store or on the Google Play Store. It is this awesome app where you can record your personal dreams in a variety of different ways, and you can keep them private, or you can choose to put them on the Dreamline. So that makes them public for others to see. And you'll have dream experts like Urania and I, and other ones who are involved in the app, comment on your dreams and help to interpret and guide in the ways that we can. It's really cool.
Yeah.
One of my favorite features about it is the fact that it actually records a record. I kind of got a little doubling those words there, but it records your dreams and it tells you like, oh, you have like a 5-day streak of recording your dreams. You have a 10-day streak of recording your dreams. And it really gives you that like that boost that you need to keep going. Like, oh, let's see if I can get to 25. So I highly recommend downloading that. Again, you can get this app on the Apple Store or on the Google Play Store. It's Dramigos, and you'll get
Yeah.
one of us commenting on it.
I put the link in the chat. If you're curious, you want to go to the website and check it out. And also I'll put it in the caption or the comments of this video. And I really enjoy the ability to keep your dreams private or share them. And also it's really handy if you just, get up and, we're always checking our phones. So you can kind of like change your habit. If you have to pick up the phone, like pick up the phone and just type your dream in, either keep it private or share it, and then go on about your business. So it's like at least like you're using your phone in a productive way in the morning, so to speak. But yeah, either way, it's a really cool app. It's new, and we're excited for it to grow and evolve, and we like to share that with you.
Absolutely. And next, I'm just going to let you guys know Urania and I were invited to be guests on another dream podcast called Dream Oracle for You. So, Dream Oracle, the number 4 and the letter U. And that has already been uploaded. It was a really fun conversation. The hosts are Billiana and Sarah, and they are wonderful to have a conversation with. We talked about astrology and dreams. So if you're interested, go over to their podcast on Spotify. Again, that's Dream Oracle, the number 4 and the letter U. And comment, let us know how it was for you. We loved it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'll share it on our channel too. Maybe I'll make a playlist or something. So look out for that. I'll definitely give you all a heads up as far as, on Instagram and on our post section when I share that directly. Yeah, it was awesome. And we'll definitely be having a chat with them again here, hopefully live. And also we definitely want to be on their podcast one more time because there was so much we wanted to talk about and we didn't have enough time. So definitely check that out.
Yep.
Our final announcement is our Dream Circle, our monthly Dream Circle, which is coming up next week. It's on May 6th at 8 p.m. Eastern time. And basically it's an intimate gathering. I mean, most of us, I feel we are familiar with the term Dream Circle or any type of gathering circle group. And so we come together, we share our dreams, we talk about mysticism, anything pertaining to like that kind of perspective or experience, the hidden, the unknown, the taboo, dreams, all of that. We can talk about it. And yeah, it's just a very chill place to connect and have a direct either one-on-one with us or with other people and just really be able to like talk on camera and like really share your dream and go deep with it or whatever's on your mind.
Absolutely. And every time we have it, it's wonderful. The guests are fantastic. We have wonderful experience talking about different things. Sometimes it's just learning about you guys and your relationship with dream work. So, bring a cup of tea or coffee and hang out with us and chit chat this Tuesday.
Yeah, so you can register. The link's going to be in the description of this video or in the show notes. And also I'm going to start putting some links in the comment section because I feel like sometimes it's easier to just see that right away on YouTube. So look out for that. All right, so we're going to briefly talk about the cosmic climate for this week. So let's see. At this point in time, the moon, she just reached her waxing crescent phase in Gemini. Another highlight for the moon transits is going to be her first quarter square in Leo, and that's going to happen this Sunday on May 4th. And what is going to be dynamic about that? It's the same day that Pluto begins its retrograde cycle in Aquarius. And I believe the day before that, that day the moon will oppose Pluto on the 4th. And then just the day before, the moon will also align with Mars and will also square Neptune. So there's a lot of activity happening over the weekend as far as like the moon and these really dynamic connections with Neptune and Pluto. And so you could expect more reveals, more veils the veil is thin technically right now. So this is the opposite time of the year of Halloween or Samhain. And so the same vibe goes for the spring. If you're in the northern hemisphere, we're leaning into life and growth. If you're in the southern hemisphere this time of year, you're leaning into death and endings, right? And rest. And so for us, like that veil is thin to the living world, or to, I like to think about the fairies and just like the nature spirits that are very close. And again, if you're in the southern hemisphere, then it's going to be kind of like those like ancestors and past loved ones and things of that nature that are really close. And so either way, we are in this energy space of like being at a threshold, and the veil being thin. So to have the moon make a conflicting connection with Neptune, the moon at that point will be in Cancer. So there's like this dynamic between Cancer and Aries, right? And so I feel between the moon and Neptune and the moon and Pluto, there's definitely a high possibility for visitation dreams. And also being able to see, situations or people for what they truly are, right? So the veil is thinning and, the smoke is clearing. And so really pay attention to that in your dream space this weekend and definitely into next week as Pluto is stationing retrograde. So that's going to be a whole thing. But yeah, I'm always, honestly, at this point, I'm always looking forward to my dreams, even though sometimes they could be scary. I'm excited to go to bed because I'm like, ooh, what am I going to dream about tonight? And I feel if you take the time to go to bed with good vibes, definitely make sure, try and clear, just like your energy before, like if you're scrolling in bed, because I hate when I get like residue from Instagram scrolls before bed and like random people and celebrities are in my dream. And I'm like, oh, what a waste. Sometimes it's fun, but anyways, I'm rambling. Do you want to add anything to that, Alexa?
No, I can definitely feel the energies of these transits this week already. I had a lucid dream last night that was really, really
Ooh,
around me just stepping into my confidence and trusting myself and taking control of what I'm able to. Even though in the dream it wasn't really something like logistically that I could control, but it was a dream that would have been anxiety inducing, but I kind of took control of it and it was more fun despite all of the like
yes.
destruction and like craziness and harshness. So it was I'm definitely feeling that energy, and I am really excited for the next like several days to see what comes through.
Yeah, it's going to be, and Pluto's with your moon too. So that's going to be interesting.
Oh yeah,
Um,
and in retrograde.
yeah. All right. Bring on the dream time. It's with my son. So,
Yep.
and then it's very close to squaring my Pluto in my chart, my natal Pluto. And square basically what that means is it's basically a conflict or a challenge aspect, a challenge for growth, a challenge for stepping into the unknown. And so they're just like right at the precipice, but it's retrograding, so it's not going to make that exact square. So yeah, anyways, I'm feeling that. So here we are. We are going to talk about deja vu. And Alexis, do you want to start by just, sharing what deja vu is?
Sure. So, first, déjà vu is a originally a French expression meaning already seen. So, the definition for déjà vu is a feeling you get when you sense you have done something already within a new experience, or you seem to already know what is going to occur next. What do you have?
So I have something similar, of course, the standard definition. And also, as far as like, I want to break it up from like the science and spirituality, as we know, like they should be together, but yeah, they're two sides of the same coin, right? And so the science perspective is basically they consider deja vu to be short-term memories mistaken for long-term memory by the brain. So there's like some sort of like glitch in the system. And I love thinking about it like that because I just feel like we're all like, we're kind of like computers. There's the programming and everything. And so you have this glitchy type experience where your brain is just like, well, it kind of like frags out for a second. And then it's like you have this memory that may be short term, but it's, or maybe they say maybe long term, but it appears as short term. So it's kind of confusing, which, we do experience that when we have deja vu. You're just like, wait a minute. Wait a minute. It stops you in your tracks and you're like, what is happening? What is this? As far as like the spiritual meaning, there are definitely more like perspectives on this, as far as like it could be an experience of nonlinear time. So like time breaks down and you're in this like very auspicious moment of everything happening at once. There's also a sign of alignment or synchronicity. And so it can be showing you like that you're on the right path, or it's just like that very auspicious moment of, again, alignment of everything coming together as one experience and time breaks down. They also say it could be a soul memory. So it could be some sort of echo from a past life or maybe a parallel existence, which I mean, I love just thinking about that. My Aquarius is like, oh, parallel realities. That's a whole nother
Yeah.
conversation.
No, I'm right there with you.
We
I
need
get
to do a
excited
chat on
every
that.
time we should do a chat on that. Put that in the notes.
Yeah. And then they also pointed to that there's a message from, it could be a message from your higher consciousness inviting you to pause, become aware, and tune into something deeper occurring in your life. And so I really just like looking at all the different, the frameworks of this perspective on deja vu. And like I said, I didn't really make a connection to dreams until probably about a year ago. And, it's nice to go back honestly and reflect on, there are a few deja vu experiences where, I mean, sometimes I really feel that, like, I never thought that it was a glitch. because of the feeling that comes with it. Like I always pay attention to like the feeling or the emotion, and there's always like this like it already feels like there's magic around it,
Yeah.
right? And you're tuning into something for a moment. And so I've always felt that maybe it was more so like a synchronicity or that soul memory. I definitely feel that. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh man. See, I love all the theories. I think it's fun. It could be everything, it could be none of
Yeah.
what we talked about, but the idea, like my always my favorites are the ones around time. The time
Yeah.
being just kind of like, I don't know, non-linear, even within our dream space. Like, are we able to tap into different timelines, like in our dream space, in our unconscious? Like maybe we're having access to that future vision or experience prior to, maybe it's preparing us for something or whatever it may be. But also just the parallel realities, such a cool aspect too. Like I mean, I feel like we definitely need to go more in depth with that alone.
Yeah.
But I get deja vu all the time, and every time I get it you're locked in. Like
Yeah.
it's like you feel it and you're locked in, and you're like, I've been here before. I've done this before.
Yeah.
I've felt this before. And like the fact that now I can kind of link it to my dreams more confidently, it's a really cool thing, especially because some things I don't write down, but some things I do. So I can kind of like trace back and see when something happened after I had already dreamt it. And it's just an interest. I love it. It's weird. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah. So we do have a few like science perspectives to share. However, just because of time, I think that we can just get into the specifics of dream because there's one specific scientist that is kind of like the point or like the go-to for just like the studies around deja vu and dreams, or at least the theory, I guess you could say, and then like the different perspectives. So I will point out that I'll just say briefly, there was a study that was it was artificial induction, which basically in a lab setting, researchers have induced deja vu using virtual reality. So by subtly changing environments so that the brain subconsciously recognizes patterns without consciously identifying them. So I just wanted to point that one out because that one always, like, whenever you're trying to induce brain things, I don't know why that like really, like, I don't know, it gets under my skin a little bit. Like it makes me like, not that I'm angry, but it just like it's like it to me.
Yeah,
I'm
I
like, no,
completely.
I don't want to artificially induce anything, but I mean, so they have kind of been able to, like, it's like they can replicate what deja vu does. So there is, obviously with everything, there's a science to it. So the science part, I mean, that's interesting place to go. And maybe we can do like a separate one, deja vu and like the science perspective of it. But I just wanted to point that one out because that was kind of interesting to me. And I did go a little bit deeper on that. But, for the sake of time, we're just going to jump right into deja vu and dreams. And so my question was for myself that I wrote down was, what is the difference? And we don't have to answer this right now, but like, what's the difference between deja vu, like in a dream, and just deja vu being like like a precognitive experience?
So
Um,
I love that
from the
question.
dream. Yeah.
I love that question.
So we
And
can we can go there now, or we can
yeah,
come back to it. Yeah.
we're already in the flow. We might as well just go
Okay.
there now
Yeah. So what
because
are your
I
thoughts
love
about
this. So for me, in my opinion, deja vu is a dream that you don't really remember because it was more mundane. Where like a
yeah.
precognitive dream is more like in your face and more intense. So like, for example, just like a quick example, I had a precognitive dream 5 days before my grandfather passed away, and it basically was him falling out of bed, passing away, and his soul kind of like going down his street. And then 5 days later, he fell out of bed, went to the hospital, and passed away. That is a precognitive dream. Like there's no,
That's a major event,
that's
right? Like
there's no way
that's,
to.
yeah.
Whereas recently I went to a baby shower and I was seated. I had never been to this restaurant before. I'd never been to this part of New Jersey before. It was totally new to me. And I sat down in this restaurant. All the decorations were like flowers coming from the ceiling and everything. And I was talking to some people, and there was two people talking next to me. And the combination of them talking, seeing the decorations, and watching someone walk behind the table triggered a deja vu. I could like predict maybe a couple seconds after what was going to happen, but it stopped there. So it wasn't anything significant. It was very brief. It was very light. It was more mundane. There were the synchronicities, and I could attach that to a dream memory that I had, but it's more mundane. It didn't really stick out in my memory.
Yeah. Yeah.
Prior.
That makes sense. So I would say, or what you're saying is like a precognitive dream, like on its own, tends to kind of point to like a major event, like there's a major event happening, or also it could be like little things as well. But like with deja vu for sure, it's just kind of mundane things that, yeah, are
And
very
very quick, like
and
10.
very quick, right? Like it's just
Yeah.
like a little snippet or a moment of like that memory. And just for those of you who aren't familiar with precognitive dreams, it's pretty much premonition dreams. So precognitive dreams are dreams in which you experience or perceive events that later manifest in waking reality, sometimes days, weeks, or even years later. We did a chat. We had a chat around
Oh yeah.
precognitive dreams. I don't know if it was on the podcast for sure, but we definitely have a chat that we'll share at some point if it's not an episode. But yeah, the dreams often, as far as precognitive dreams, they often carry a strong emotional charge or clarity. And when the actual event happens, it can trigger a deja vu type feeling, just in the sense of like, I'm reliving this or this happened again. But you'll know with precognitive dreams that like you'll know for sure that it came from a dream. I feel like with deja vu, there is like this kind of not quite sure, but like I think the more you do dream work, you know, pay attention to your dreams, share your dreams, talk about it, the more you're like really in that space, then you can really catch those deja vu moments as dreams. But in general, I would say deja vu and dreams, like it being like a deja vu experience from a dream, like usually, like you said, it's mundane and it's very quick. And you might not be too sure that it's from a dream. So, as far as deja vu and precognitive dreams, or basically dreaming, it's said that it's intimately connected through the concept of nonlinear time. So, that being, you know, at time breaks down, and basically you're in that space, that singularity point where everything's happening at once. And so, there's a concept of that connects deja vu and precognitive dreaming, as well as the subtle abilities of the subconscious and higher self to be able to access that information beyond, you know, your waking awareness. And for me, one of the most fun things, and I know you've done this, Alexis, too, and if y'all are listening have done this too, definitely let us know. But it's really fun to try to predict what happens next. Like I can always do maybe like the very next thing, but then that's it.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't really recall right now any deja vu experiences that I know for sure are dreams, but I definitely no, actually there's been little tiny snippets where I remember in one of my dreams, and this was like probably like last fall or something like that. I had a dream about my neighbor who I like never see, and he came over my house, and like he was working on something outside, like a tree. I think he was working on a tree. There was something going on outside. And so I was like looking out the window and I was like watching him doing whatever he was doing. Um, and he only lives two houses down, but I rarely see him. And so it was like it was within like 3 days. I happened to just look out my window and I saw him like riding down the street. Now this on his bike. Now this isn't necessarily like the same event, but the same, like the act of seeing him, like standing out of my window, seeing him, like that doesn't feel precognitive. It definitely feels like deja vu in the sense of like, I've done this before. I've checked in with him. And he even like waved at me. Like I've checked in with him. Like I've checked in this way with him. Or just like checking him out, so to speak. And so I don't know. I consider that to be a deja vu moment, even though it's like, well, I'm not predicting like
Mhm.
like I can't predict what happened next. And I remember the dream, so I know it wasn't the exact, but I'm like, I wonder if I hadn't really remembered that dream and had been kept keeping up with that dream, if it would come in like as like the true like expected feeling of a deja vu, where it's like, oh, I've done this before, I've like felt this before, but with me and the neighbor and like looking out the window, like, but I don't remember like why, like what was I doing? So it felt like it could have been possibly that experience.
Yeah, and I actually will go a little bit into that when I talk about the Jungian analyst Arthur Funkhauser in a little bit.
Yeah, let's actually go there. I think we're clear on this for now. We can come back to it if, naturally.
Perfect. So I'm just going to give a little bit of a background of who this is. So Arthur Funkhauser, he's a Jungian analyst. He was born in 1940 in Evansville, Indiana, grew up in Oklahoma City. He earned his bachelor's degree in physics in 1962, his master's degree in science and engineering in 1967. He had worked in research at the National Bureau of Standards in Washington. He also instructed at the Learning Community in Honolulu and the Hellenic International School in Athens. After that he settled in Zurich, Switzerland, and he actually began training as a Jungian analyst at the Carl G. Jung Institute in Switzerland. And while he was training, he was also worked as a physicist, which, I mean, this man, I feel like he's done
Wow.
everything. So
Right.
in 1979, he completed his PhD in digital picture processing. And then in 1981, he earned his degree in analytical psychology, which is the Jung perspective, from the C.G. Jung Institute in Zurich. So his dissertation was on deja vu and the dreams. Really interesting guy. I was talking to Urania about this, and I'm like, the amount of schooling that this man has gone through, and it's broken up into so many different like things. Like, I almost wonder if he has Aquarius energy uh,
Right. I should look for
in
his
his
chart.
birth chart because he just seems to be very eclectic in what he studies. So,
Yeah, so
oh,
oh,
go ahead. No,
okay.
go ahead.
You continue. No, you continue. I have two dreams from him that I'll share.
Okay.
That he like used in his paper, but you go ahead.
Yeah,
I'll let you
I'll go
finish.
ahead and then yeah, we'll go right into that. So, Funkhauser classified deja vu phenomenon into three different categories: deja vécu, which means already lived; deja senti, already felt, which is what I feel like you might have experienced within your
Yeah.
dream;
Yeah, that's a good point.
and deja visit, which is already visited. All of these involving a sudden feeling that an experience had been lived before. So we'll go right into what that those categories kind of mean. So deja vu is most common form associated with deja vu. It often includes the sense of prediction or knowledge of what will happen next, and it is a strong feeling of having lived through the experience or moment before. So very strong, very upfront. It's not a little thing. It's like pretty major.
And this is probably the ones that you can predict what happens next.
Yep.
Just that quick moment.
Yep. So the deja senti, that is based in feeling emotional or mental familiarity. So this is what came to mind immediately when you were talking about that dream, where it was more familiar than it was like predictive of what was going to happen.
Yeah.
So typically this occurs without full experimental richness of deja vu. So it's more of like a little taste rather than like the
And
full.
that's what I was gonna say. Like, if I wasn't so into my dreams and like, remembering everything and sharing them all the time, I can pretty confidently say that I would have had that same moment and it would have been the feeling of deja vu, like the act, like you're saying, like the feeling of it. But not being able to predict or anything. I'm just like, oh, this feels like so familiar. So, but being that I do remember my dreams pretty well, I'm like, okay, I see like the differences and the similarities. So there's a synchronicity here for sure.
Absolutely. And this one is most common with people, in people with temporal lobe epilepsy and other medical issues. So I found that interesting, that it's most common with those people experiencing those injuries or those issues around the temporal lobe. And the last one we have is the deja visite. So this involves unfamiliar places feeling oddly familiar. This is tied to a detailed memory or recall, or cryptomnesia, which is hidden memory, or yeah, hidden memory. And this is also related to dreams and forgotten travels.
Ooh, ooh, oh my gosh. That just gave me like a moment. There's like one deja vu. I'll just share this real
Go
quick.
ahead.
And I don't know, this is way before dream work and it came in it comes in several times. So this feels like some sort of soul memory because I'm like, did I actually do this? But basically, I just have this memory and this like deja vu feeling. Like it's so I'm leaning always into the feeling. And I was like I had this feeling of being in San Diego, like I'm like driving around at night around, like if you've ever been to San Diego, they have very windy like roads, and I mean their hills are huge. And or not San Diego, I'm sorry, San Francisco. And I'm thinking about more like north of the city where you start to get in the country and the vineyard areas. And it's just like I've been out there. I've been out there on a bus, right? Like I went to a vineyard. Or I went to Muir Woods, but I don't know. And I'm like thinking, I'm like, did this actually happen? Because it's weird because I see the city experience, the city lights, but I'm on the roads of like the country. And then there's like sushi, like having sushi is like a part of that experience or like the feeling and the joy of, which I know that was a part of the experience because we found this really like nice, like just sushi place randomly at some point. So it's like these weird memories, but it definitely has to do with travel with like the windy country roads, but like seeing the city lights and the feeling of that. So, wow. I mean, this is just, and I love thinking about when I need to get in like a really good mood or just like feeling that pleasure, I'll think about that memory and it like instantly gets me there. So, thank you for getting me
Of
there with
course.
that.
I mean, I really love the way that he breaks down these three categories because
Yeah.
I feel like just saying deja vu, it's very limited, you know,
Yeah.
in and having this expansion of understanding and kind of a place to put things, it makes it easier to distinguish, what is what for your own self. And I'm sure in his studies. So Funkhauser proposed that precognitive dreams, sorry, may be responsible for some cases of deja vu, more so deja vecu. Sorry, my brain kind of did a little dance there. I don't know, getting back into that was a little difficult, but anyway, he hypothesized that people may dream about events before they happened, that when the event later occurs in waking life, it triggers a sense of familiarity, causing the experience of deja vu. This means the experience is actually the recall of a forgotten dream. So he talks about cryptomnesia, which is hidden memory and dreams. So
Mm.
these are dreams forgotten out after waking. So these are dreams that are more mundane. They're not something that sticks in your head. They seem like almost kind of boring. And that's kind of how I would explain the linking of my dreams to the deja vu experiences I have, is that it's not anything really to call
That
home
would
about.
stand
Like
out. Yeah, yeah.
it's nothing really, like the experiences I have with deja vu. It's like, oh, I'm talking to someone, and for those brief moments, I know what they're gonna say next. Like it's coming out of their mouth, and I've like heard it before, so I can follow it. Or I'm walking in my front yard on a summer day, and it just like, it's nothing crazy. It's very mundane. So when these events occur, the brain retrieves the buried memory, resulting in a sense of uncanny familiarity. The original source, or the dream, remains hidden from the conscious memory. He collected dream accounts from people who believed they had precognitive dreams. So a lot of these records were actually written prior to them happening. So he got hold of them prior to any of
Yeah.
happening. Not all of them, but a lot of them. And this was providing documented basis for his hypothesis. His method leaned heavily on anecdotal evidence with focus on timing and content overlap between dreams and waking life experiences. He described cases where people had dreams of specific locations they'd never visited, but later recognized in the waking and in the waking, or conversations or events that played out word for word later on. He categorized those as precognitive deja vus. So what I have next is his own personal case study, but I think you can take the reins on this one.
Yeah. Are we sharing, is the personal case study the one that, am I sharing the same one?
I
Same
think
thing, you have the
you said you
dreams?
were explaining the dream that he had, right?
Yeah, he
Yeah,
has
that's
two
fine.
dreams. Yeah, so this is basically from one of his papers, his academic papers, and you can actually, I posted the link to this paper so you can read it for yourself for free if you want to really dive into what his studies are. And this one is titled The Dream. Dream is in quotation marks, Theory of Deja Vu. And he tends to, at least in the beginning of this paper, to decipher between saying in dream versus like while asleep, because he basically says that it feels different, almost like foreign, as far as like it might not be a normal dream that it's coming from, but like a preview of a dream, so to speak. So, but he doesn't really have a better way to describe it except for while asleep, forward in time glimpse, right? So it's like, maybe you're in a dream, maybe you're somewhere else, like who really knows, like, but it's in the space of like not being awake, right? So basically these two type of dreams, these two dreams that he shares is giving an example of what he means by basically having these deja vu experience with this conviction that he has experienced this before while in the sleeping state, and it will valid or affirm his or support his hypothesis, right? So this dream goes to say, so this is the first one. I was with friends on bicycles, and let me just say he was between the age of 14 and 15 with this first dream. So I was with friends on bicycles, and we were hunting for another in a mobile game of hide and seek. In quotes, or I'm sorry, in parentheses, this is the first and only attempt at this much too frustrating game. The town was too large, so they were playing hide and seek like while moving around the town. And so we had searched for some time, and having given up hope of finding him, we were returning home. Suddenly, I was seeing all this for the second time, and I had the impression that I had been through this experience once before while asleep. I felt I knew what was to come. I could remember what was to be. It came to pass. As we rounded a corner not far from my home, there was our quarry laying down his bicycle in front of my yard, just as I knew he would be. I had a strong urge before we reached the corner to tell my companions that this would be the case, but couldn't bring myself to do so because that wasn't included in the dream. And I didn't want to interrupt the chain of events. This is probably the longest such incident that I've had, lasting probably 30 seconds or so. So that's interesting that he could predict what was happening next, right? With the typical deja vu. And I like how he kind of did what you do, Alexis, in lucid dreams, where you just kind of go with the flow. You don't really try to change much. So he's like, I know what's going to happen, so I better not, um, disturb like the flow of the dream. I don't want to like, yeah, because it's like almost like time travel where one little different move, one separate choice or like small choice that's not in alignment with like that timeline can really like mess up the rest of the timeline in the future, right? So I thought that was kind of interesting. The second one came about a year later. I had taken up the sport, in quotes, of table tennis with a vengeance and was playing a great deal. One table that was used was an oddly colored blue-green one. One day during a game of doubles on this table, I felt I was suddenly seeing everything for the second time. The remarkable aspect was that when I had dreamed it some months before, a pure subjective judgment, I hadn't recalled the dream at the time. There was a part of me which asked, where is this that has such a funny colored table? And who are these people? In the actual event, the same tiny voice said, oh, so that is where it is. I have spoken with several other persons who also have had, okay, so that was a dream. I'm sorry. Then he goes on to say, I have spoken with several other persons who also have had clear deja vu experiences of this type, and they all have reported the same sort of mechanism to be at work. First, a dream, which may precede the later events by months or even years, and then it's coming true in exquisite detail. So he also goes into seven different points of what is commonly experienced between deja vu and dreams. Do you want me to share that?
Sure. Yeah.
And then we can bring it all together from there. So the common aspects of deja vu and dreams is one, the situations are in quotes pre-seen, are banal, banal, everyday sorts of occurrences. So mundane, right? They're all mundane. The second is the phenomena occur more often in adolescence. So I thought that was interesting. So he's saying that this tends to happen more with younger people.
That is
Um,
interesting because
yeah,
I feel like a lot of people that I talk to who are around my age, even older,
yeah,
um, they seem to have it pretty frequently. So that's interesting study.
yeah. I think it could be also just like if you think about younger people, they might be more open-minded, so to speak. Once people get a little bit older, then they have their belief system. It's a little bit different now
Yep,
where, we're like entertaining astrology and, the spiritual community and metaphysics is really growing and becoming like a part of like normal society, possibly, I think. So
absolutely.
that could be the reason why it might occur more in adolescence because you're a bit more open-minded and aware and open to magic and things like that.
Which makes sense with the people that I know who have it because they are very open
Yeah,
minded. So, the
right.
people that were around who talk about it must just be more open minded than others.
Yeah. So the third one goes to say it is always mildly to extremely unsettling, especially the first few times. So that feeling of just like, wait a minute, like
Hold up.
stop,
What's
stop
happening?
time, like pause the game, pause the movie. What's happening here? Okay. So next, it occurs in varying degrees of time span, clarity, and intensity. So I think he's mentioning as far as like the length of how long the deja vu is experienced, like it always kind of varies in that and the clarity, which like predicting, maybe you can predict what happens next, maybe not. And then the intensity, I feel maybe the emotion and that kind of like unsettling energy. Next, it's rare that one remembers the preview or recognizes it for what it is before the event. So yeah, it's like when you realize you're having deja vu, you're already in the moment of deja
Yeah.
vu,
Oh, yeah. It's
right?
not,
So
you're not like preparing for it. It's just you're there. Right as soon as
right,
it
you can't
happens,
be
you're
like,
locked
oh,
in. No prepping for it. It just
oh,
happens.
it's like I'm about to have a deja vu moment any minute now. No, it's like in that moment. So that makes sense. I feel that that kind of goes without being said. So the next one is one always sees while asleep what one is going to see from the exact same perspective through one's own eyes and own future skin, so to speak. So essentially, you're seeing the same thing from the like the same perspective, right? So it's like, what first person perspective, right? That's the
Yeah.
right way to say that. Yeah, or however it is in your dream. So maybe it's different. I don't know. But basically, whatever you saw in your dream, the perspective, like for me, it was looking out the window at my neighbor. Like that was similar and the feeling was similar.
Yep.
What he was doing was different, but the act of looking out the window at my neighbor was the same situation. So then the last one is in deja vu, or perhaps better, deja vu, meaning already lived. What is being re-experienced is a situation, a temporal sequence. Hopefully that made sense to you guys. It is not quite the same phenomena as what I call deja visite, already visited. So he's distinguishing between already lived and already visited. So the location versus like a situation you've experienced before. Um, so basically, they're different. He involves recognizing a place which one ordinarily should not be able to without ever being there, right? And the mechanism behind deja vu and deja visite may eventually turn out to be the same, right? So a place that you've already visited or a place that you already have lived or a circumstance that you already have lived might actually end out to be the same. The difference is with deja vu, one has somehow managed to transcend the normal temporal sequence, right? So the temporal is essentially that brain function, right? Like the part of the brain being able to remember short-term memory versus long-term memory. So there's like that glitch, right? Happening. So you're able to transcend that like sequence of time within the brain, the way the brain functions, right? And so you're jumping, what he's saying is that you're jumping in deja visite, which is the location, a place that you've already been, you are jumping through spatial distances, right? So kind of jumping through time and space essentially.
Yep.
Which, ooh, I love that because that's getting into the science of things. But, you know, that again is for like a different conversation for sure.
It's funny because the experience that I'm going to share is the dream visite. Like it is a place that I had dreamt about, and
Yeah.
immediately as soon as I like experienced it, it was, I remember exactly what dream this is, and I have been to this like location, and it was in a place that like I would never have known.
Yeah. Well, why don't you go ahead and share that? I think this is a good like entry point for that.
Sure. So I think it was either, I'm pretty sure it was last year in the spring. And my friend had asked me if I would help her with setting up her market at this location. And the way that I am with these things, I'm like, okay, whatever. If I'm not driving, I'm not doing any research on where we're going. I just like to kind of like show up and be surprised. So about a week before I went, I had this dream where I was in this glass building, and in the middle of the glass building was a glass elevator. And
Mm-hmm.
it was a very like anxiety driven dream. I was trying to get people out of this building, and I was actively like walking up the stairs and then going down the glass elevator and like everything like that. And I'm not going to say the full dream because it was pretty long, but I ended up getting everybody out of the building, getting on a boat, and kind of, because the streets were flooded, and then moving forward into a protective state, or at least getting everybody protected. So the day arrives where I am going to help my friend. So we get there, I see this huge glass building, and I don't think anything of it. We walk in, I get all the, like, we start bringing stuff in. And I remember at one point as I'm walking out, the deja vu hit. So right up, like when I was entering the building, nothing really stuck out to me. No, I wasn't paying attention to anything. It wasn't, but as I'm walking out, I immediately was brought back to that dream because this whole building was glass and windowed. And the elevator was in the middle of the beginning of the building, and it was clear, like a glass elevator. And I was about to walk out of the building, and the deja vu just hit. And I was brought back to that location. And it was just a crazy, and immediately after that, I was like, I've been here. I've been here in my dream. I've been here, and I talked about it to her like later in the day too, because I'm like, this is definitely like clicking. That big glass elevator is clicking. But that's definitely the deja visite, because it was so uncanny. Like immediately gave me goosebumps all over my body.
Yeah.
I didn't know what to do with the information, which I never really know what to do with the information, whether it's deja vu or precog. I'm kind of just like, what do I do now? But that was
Right.
so
What
clear.
does this
And I talked
mean?
about it. I went on my blog on Tumblr, and I was like, this is the craziest thing that just happened. and like linking the dream that I just had written down and posted like a week prior, and like the picture of the building that I was at, and it was just like the
That is
craziest.
like, wait, do you still have that?
I'm pretty sure I still do. Yes,
We gotta
I
post that
will.
on
I
like our
will. But
Instagram.
I mean,
Yeah.
I was blown out of the water. It was just the craziest experience.
Yeah, and this is like this opens up an even deeper, expansive question where it's like, I mean, again, what are dreams? If these little mundane things are happening, like things that we don't really remember because they don't stick out to us, but then we experience them later, and it happens, not often, but often enough, it's like, what are dreams? Like when I think about precognitive dream experiences, like we said in the beginning, there is like a major event, right? That's connected to it. It's really emotionally charged. It's really intense because
Oh
of
yeah.
like the whole situation around it. And it's a big deal, right? So, I mean, that within itself, I mean, that makes sense. But then we have these like little moments too with the dreams where it's like, wait, what? Yeah, I'm just going off in my mind right now with like, okay, so I know we're traveling. I know the spirit's leaving the body. And yeah, and then you just get into the whole thought of like, what is time? Because it's like, okay, if I've been here before and did something here before, like now I'm back in my waking life. Why am I back? I'm back here again doing the
Yeah.
same. So like it's like, you're getting into a different frame of reference and time and space. And it's like these little snapshots and like frames, right?
Yeah.
So it's really intriguing and like very curious to like go down that specific line of thought. And I'm going to have to write down, make a list because I'm like, we got to talk about all this because this is the podcast of dreams, astral travel and mysticism. So it's
A-
all in it. It's all in this like dynamic of things.
Absolutely. It's such a mystery, and I find the mystery around dreaming is just so intriguing. There are so many theories, so many ideas. It could be all of them and it could be none of them at the same time. And it's
You
just
know?
like it's
Yeah.
it's so it's so beautiful. There's something just so beautiful about the mystery of it all, and you can go so deep with it. And it's so unique to yourself. Like I
Yeah.
can have this experience and I can tell you about it, and I can provide the pictures and whatnot. There's a high probability some people still won't believe that it's something that I experienced.
Right.
But that's okay.
Or yeah, you just
I,
don't
I
get
don't
it.
care.
You don't get it until you experience it for yourself, for in
And
your
I know
own
I've
way.
been on that side where people have told me
Yeah.
that they had these experiences, and I'm like, yeah, sure. But
Right.
when it happens to you, it's just such a cool thing to include in our life. Like it really takes us away from the mundane aspect of existence and adds depth to it that again is unanswerable, at least right now. Like they have
And this
science based, they have a lot of science based studies on dreaming, but it only answers some aspects of the questions asked.
And a
I
lot of the
don't.
times I feel they are inducing the experiences, like the way in which they will induce a lucid dream. Like we induce lucid dreams, but in a more natural way, like more intentional. With science, they tend to like do things to the brain, which always, it just makes me really uncomfortable.
Well,
It
yeah,
really
because
gets me
you
the ick.
want it to
Yeah.
be a natural experience.
Yeah.
You don't want it to be artificial.
Yeah. So Mary has a few comments here. So she says, as far as deja vu, I think it's a series of incompleted life events. Then she goes to say that I'm like, I've been here before. And then she just asked the question, or just posed this question, are they memories or dreams? This is like the chicken or the egg conversation. Like, does the egg come first or the chicken come first? And yeah, I think scientifically they're like memory, it's memories. And it's a glitch between your short-term memory and your long-term memory, basically. Like something gets, the long-term memory comes in like it's a short-term memory, or no, the short-term memory comes in as a long-term memory, but it's not, is what they say. There's a glitch there.
And there's a lot of theories too. Like
There's
there's
so many
a ton of
theories.
scientific theories. I mean, subliminal cell phone theories, like there's theories around the way that like if we're not paying attention and things are being processed more like subconsciously and not so
Yep.
much consciously. There's a lot around it, but I mean, when you have experiences where like especially when you're studying dream work, here is a dream that I wrote down. Here is the experience that I had. Like it is my like personal proof that I had this dream and it correlates to the experience of deja vu. So like, and it's, I mean, it's a very interesting path to go down. I'm not
Yeah, and it just
sure
go
if there's an answer.
it just goes to say that, this is just another reason to, record your dreams.
Yes.
Because as I'm saying, I think that you open up more opportunities for the deja vu experiences when you do remember your dreams, or at least being able to connect them to your dreams. And then I feel just like you don't need that experience, obviously, to have like a profound deja vu moment. But I think when you are able to connect what's happening in your waking world to what's happening in your dreams, like that is already a very clear example or experience of bridging your consciousness, right? And also just witnessing the magic and having almost like that's kind of like the scientific proof, even though you don't go through the scientific method to prove it. But like you had the dream, you had the experience, you have pictures of the experience, you have the dream recorded. And that's a big thing with precognitive dreams. There's a whole, record keeping aspect of it too, that really amplifies like that it being a precognitive experience. It's like when you have it documented, it's just like the power and the magic and the confidence you gain from that experience, it just opens up the door to more of that and so much more, so much like what people would say lucid living, essentially.
Yeah,
Right. So it's really incredible to connect all of these dots in including dreams. Why not?
absolutely. Why not? Like you really don't have an answer for it. It could be a memory showing up in your dream from multiple parallel universes, like you
Yeah.
experience, like you said, experiences that are unfinished in other like dimensions. I don't know, there's so many. You can really
I
go.
want to do a chat, and this might have to be in the next chat, but we'll talk afterwards. But I really want to chat about parallel realities.
Let's do it. Done.
Let's do it. So look
Excited.
out for that next week. We're going to talk about parallel realities because I'm just like it's been coming up in other little readings and videos and stuff that I've been watching, and now getting into this where it's like time breaking down and you're tuning
Mm-hmm.
into the timeline, and those are things that just fascinate me. And so I would love to see, what's out there as far as like the science and the studies and just the theories, and to share it with Alexis and all of you guys. I think that would be really cool.
Absolutely, I'm 100% down.
So Mary cracked me up here in the chat. She says, "What's reality? Shakespeare, to be or not to be, LOL." Where it's like it could be this or that, or like, yeah.
It's really fun. It's really, I mean, life is very
You never
abstract.
know.
It's
Yeah.
very abstract. And I feel the more that people try to put it in a box,
Yeah.
the less that they take the time to understand themselves within experience, like this existence.
Yeah.
People really try to put a explanation on the way existence is supposed to be, or how it is and what it is. And I feel like having a more abstract point of view and really considering all of the things, it gives yourself a personalized idea of what it might be based on your own experiences and studies you've read and theories. It's just so abstract. It's so fun. I know I keep saying that, but it really is. It's the
No, it
mystery of it
is.
all and the complexity and the depth. It's so fun to me. Like I just love how much you can't explain about existence.
Yeah, you really can't. Well, as far as this chat existing, it's about to come to a close, at least in like the actual live time frame. So yeah, thanks everyone for being here, for watching. This was such a fun chat. I'm really excited about next week because like yeah, it's gonna be a good one. So yeah, please subscribe to the channel. please like the video if you like this, or subscribe to Spotify if you're watching on Spotify. We really appreciate the support. We really enjoy having you all tune in and chat with us. So thank you so much for engaging. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much. And don't forget, if you want to join us for this upcoming Tuesday's Dream Circle, register today.
Yeah. Yeah, we would love to connect with you. We can go deeper on this deja vu and dreams, or we can talk about anything you like.
Tell us about your experiences with deja vu, precognitive dreams, and what your theories are, what you feel is matching up with your vibe and existence.
Yeah. All right, everyone. So have a good night, and we will see you next week to talk about parallel realities. Have
Sweet
a good
dreams.
one.